morning students, this is Dr. PATTNAIK from AMRESH'S classes. So today let's start with our life processes. Before going to that, we supposed to know what is the basic unit that is creating our body, our life process. So what's that? That is cell. Okay. So whenever this is Robert Hooke in 1665, when at first he has taken the bark of a tree, bark, that is the dead outer covering of a plant, the bark of a tree, he has taken out the thin layer of that and is under observation under a simple microscope. So why? Because that time compound and electron microscopes are not invented. So he has taken the simple microscope and by that he has taken out the layer of that bark of the tree and tries to find out what is this. He saw like these boxes he saw in that. Okay, so these boxes, looks like the honeycomb-like structure, and at first he saw these honeycomb-like structures which are present also in the bark of the dead plant, and he named it as cell. Who? Robert Hooke. 1665. He has discovered cell. It's okay, but still it's not the living cell. It was the dead cell. And after that many things have happened. Because how the cell comes from, where it comes, the many investigations, many researches is going on, and it came into idea that the cell is derived from non-living things, that mostly the elements. These are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus and sulfur. This combines to form, these are non-living, this combines to form the single living unit. It's known as cell. So after the cell is formed, many questions arises in our brain that how the cell looks like. Just one thing, take an onion. Pyaz, pyaz, onion. You might have seen this. Okay. So onion you take out and the outer cover, many layers are there here. Okay. The dry outer cover you take out. This is the one dry outer cover. You can see. Okay. This you take out and you just observe under the microscope. What you will find? You will also find the cell boxes are found which are present in honeycomb-like structure. Okay. So like this many things they have observed, and after that he find out that okay, the cells are the boxes like structure which are present in the plant or animal or everywhere. Okay. So first when the cell started rising, in that cases at first man, who is that? 1831. Nucleus is discovered by Robert Brown. Nucleus is discovered by Robert Brown. In 1839, Purkinje is protoplasm. Protoplasm, is the vital liquid of our body which initiates the organism to live, and if this is present, then we are alive. Our life is sustained due to presence of this liquid known as protoplasm. It's discovered by Purkinje 1839. Okay. After these two discoveries, another two scientists, who are they? One is okay. So after that, two scientists came into existence. Who are they? One is Matthew Sheldon, second is Theodore Senna. Matthew Sheldon and Theodore Senna. Matthew Sheldon in 1839 is the botanist. Theodore Senna in 1839 is the zoologist. One is 1838 botanist Matthew Sheldon and Theodore Senna 1839 is zoologist. Okay. These two having common effect. They proposed cell theory. What they proposed? Cell theory, Kosa Siddhant. Okay. This cell theory is having many postulates. What are they? First is cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Okay. What is cell theory? The cell is the structural and functional unit of life. ये शरीर का गठनिक और क्रियात्मक एकक है. Number two, cells arises from pre-existing cells. The new cells always arise from the old cell, from the pre-existing cells. The cells arises from pre-existing cells. Cells divides from its products. Cell always divides to form many of the cells or cell products. And number four, omnis cellula e cellula or omnis cellula cella. Omnis cellula e cellula or omnis cellula cella. Okay. It is in 1855. Rudolf Virchow in 1855 he proved that all the new cells arising from the pre-existing cells, that is in that language of Latin, is known as omnis cellula e cellula or omnis cellula cella. That is the new cells always arise from the pre-existing cells. Proposed by R. Rudolf Virchow 1855. Okay. So after this all, then the general idea of the cell came out. And from that general idea, the cell is defined on various types based on the number of its cells. If many, as we know, the cells are combined to form a tissue, tissues are combined to form an organ, organs are combined like that going on. The cells are combined to form the tissue, tissue are combined to form tissue system are combined to form organ, organs are combined to form organ systems are combined to form organism, and like that up to biosphere is just extended out. Okay. So from this idea, its generalization idea is like that the cells are, if the total body construction is organized by a single cell, it's known as unicellular. If body composed of many cells or more than one cell, it is known as multicellular, ekkoshi or bahukoshi जीव. Okay. Unicellular, multicellular, one cell, many cells. Okay. If unicellular we can say protozoans, the multicellular we can say metazoans. Okay. So what is protozoans and metazoans? Let's start. After all, if this is unicellular one cell, then one cell based on amoeba. You know, amoeba is example of a single cell. A single cell can composed of all types of all life processes. It is composed in case of amoeba. So that's you can say life processes like ingestion, digestion, assimilation, absorption, excretion. Here, all these are the life processes which is composed combined effort by the single cell which is present in case of amoeba. So we can say amoeba is unicellular, as in the sense a single cell can combine all these life processes of it. If we will go to the multicellular one, just to take the example of human being. If you go to the multicellular, what will happen in multicellular? Here they are having many cells, okay? Many cells in their body. So what are the different cells and how they can function? The question may arise now. So many cells, how this can be function in our body? The question, if it arises, so what are these many cells and how they can form? Because they are always in the division of labor. Okay, the division of labor. Always they are in working condition. The new cells, again new cells, again new cells, again new cells, again new cells. Like that, new cells are coming from the division of the old cells. The division and redivision is going on. And after that, the new cells are come off. And all the new cells having new function. That's why you can say the structure and function is maintained by these cells. Number 3, what are the cells that are present here? Okay, first let's start. The longest cell of our body is nerve cell. You know, nerve cell present in the neuron and the whole body. So that nerve cell, what it is maintaining? It's maintaining the brain and whole part of the body. Control and coordination is totally maintained. As you can say, nerve cell of the neuron is the unit of nervous system. Then we say the muscle cells. If the muscle cells are not there, then the contraction and relaxation will be not there. Then the movement of our body will be also not there. Okay. Then the nerve impulse. If the nerve impulse will not transmit through the nerve cells, then what will happen? We may not be knowing what things are going in our body. So definitely these cells are present in our body, and these are known as the unit of life and helps in division of labor. Okay, that's why what will happen? Now different multicellular organisms also playing a vital role, and who is that key? That key is a cell. Next we'll start about, if in case of multicellular cells, if it is plant cell, if it is animal cell, you will find all this. In the plant cell, what will happen? Plant cell, you know, chloroplast is there. And what the structure of chloroplast and how it will happen, what will the work of it, we will know in later part. But what the role that is played by the chloroplast? First, let's know. As you know, chloroplast contains chlorophyll, the green colored pigment, in presence of water, carbon dioxide, chlorophyll and sunlight. By using these 4 elements, the green plants prepare its food. Mostly carbohydrate type of food is prepared by the green plant, the green leaves. So this process is known as photosynthesis, and the product is carbohydrate, the glucose, and the process is photosynthesis. It produces own food. That's why the green plants are known as autotrophs also. Okay. So after all this, again the cells are divided based on how they are performing. These are 2 types again. Based on the bioevolutionarist. Okay, Jaiva bioevolutionarist, Bhutattvavid Jaiva. There are two types. What are they? One is prokaryotes, and the second one is eukaryotes. What is pro? Prokaryotes and eukaryotes. What is pro? The pro stands for primitive, fast. When first of all, when the cells are raised, when the cells are formed, when the scientists came to know that this is the structure of cell, these cells are very minute. They doesn't have any circular envelope covering any confined nucleus and its surrounding, any organelles like that. These are little bit functional, but not functional like these cells, nowadays cells. That's why these are having prokaryotes, primitive nucleus they are having. That's why they are known as prokaryotes, primitive nucleus cells. Eukaryotes, U stands for true, karyote stands for nucleus. If a well confined true nucleus is present in a cell with a well confined all cell organelles, that we can say it is eukaryotes. Okay, all the developed ones is eukaryotes, all the pre-developed one is prokaryotes. Understood now? So after all, the cell is having mostly three distinct regions. What are they? Distinct parts of cell. What are they? Can I say? It's plasma membrane, number 2 is cytoplasm, number 3 is nucleus. What are they? Plasma membrane, cytoplasm and the nucleus. Plasma membrane, as we know, plasma membrane, it's the covering of the shell. Cytoplasm, the liquid, the fluid which is present inside the cell, which makes the cellular organelles to float on this, inside of this cytoplasm, inside of this total cell, is known as cytoplasm. And what is nucleus? The rounded, deep colored, rounded shaped, spherical, deep colored, and which the control and coordination of the whole body, whole the cell, is known as, which is centrally placed, is known as nucleus. Okay.
As we know, the cell is the structural and functional unit of life that has all of the characteristics of the living things because it's having cell and the cell is having protoplasm. The basis of the shape of the cell which determines what its function is, different types of cells are found in nature. Ovum, sperm cells, red blood cells, neuron, smooth muscle cells, osteocytes or bone cells, like that, white blood cells. So different types of the cells, different shapes and size of the cells are found. So we can say is a cell is the smallest unit that is capable of performing life functions that has all of the characteristics of the living things. So first of all, Robert Hooke in 1665 his find a small microscope and take out the bark of a plant, and outside you'll find that a small portion of the bark which contains the beehive or honeycomb like small chambers. So he has named these chambers, which are found in the dead cell, mostly in the bark shell of the dead outer covering, he named it as cell. And that cell is found everywhere, which are the dead cells. But nowadays, the living cells existed. English physicist, mathematician, and inventor. In 1665, he described his microscopic observations of the plant tissues. Robert Hooke, 1665, he coined the term cell. Hooke used the microscope and looked at the dead cells, and he prepared the thin sections of the cork for viewing. And he has published a book known as Micrographia by using the phase contrast microscope. He has published this and written all his research findings. He died in 1703. If we take out the onion peel, we'll find this onion cell, cell wall, nucleus, cytoplasm and vacuole, which is in this. And the picture under microscope will observe, we'll find these chambers and the nucleus which is centrally located. If microscopic picture, if we'll verify, if we'll search, then you'll find like this structure. So it contains cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. Then cell theory is proposed by three scientists, mostly Matthew Scannon, Theodore Scannon. Matthew Scannon, Theodore Scannon. So Scannon, Skeldon and Purkinje. These three proposed three distinct theories known as cell theory. All cells carry on life activities, the structure and function. So we can say it's structural and functional unit of life. The cell theory composed of three components. All organisms are composed of one or more cells, that's Skeldon and Scannon, 1838-39. The cell is the basic unit of life in all living things. As per Purkinje, 1955, the living cell existed from the pre-existing cells. As per the modern cell theory, it has four postulates as such. They are: the cell contains hereditary information, the DNA is passed on from cell to cell during the cell division. Second, all cells are basically the same in chemical composition and metabolic activities. All basic chemical and physiological functions are carried out inside the cells, that is movement, digestion, etc. Cell activity depends on the activities of subcellular structures within the cell. There's organelles, nucleus, etc. If we'll go out, find the structure of amoeba, we find that it's unicellular, that is a single cell present in amoeba, but all these life process that is maintained in this single cell. You will find here the endoplasm, ectoplasm, plasma membrane, food vacuole, crystal and all this. Most important is here three types of vacuoles are found. One is water vacuole, one is food vacuole and the another is contractile vacuole. Water vacuole is reserve water and maintain or regulates the water composition. Food vacuole contains the food and contractile vacuole, it helps in regulation of the body content or the water content of the body. If the total body expulse is known as diastolic size, that should be contracted and by this contractile vacuole only. So after that you will find here different cells you can find. This is the bacterial cell, you can see. This contains outer capsular layer in the cell wall, the plasma membrane, cytoplasm, ribosomes, plasmids and pils are there, pili. So here one antenna-like structure is there and here you can see these bacterial cells. And after that many cells also found here like Elodia leaf cells, nerve cells, amoeba proteus, the single unicellular cells, RBC or red blood cells or red blood corpuscles you can find here. All these are the different varieties of the types of the cells. These are the uni and multicellular cells. The nerve cell is the longest cell in our body. So here we can find the ribosome, cytoplasm and the cell organelles are found here. Is the distinct cell when it's invented first. So here we can find two types of the cell. One is prokaryotic, second is eukaryotic. Prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cell, if you'll find the difference, pro means primitive, karyotes means nucleus. It's having not distinct but a primitive nucleus and cell membrane, cell organelles like that. If primitive weight is present, not well confined, then it is prokaryotics. If true nucleus is present and well confined nucleus is present with all the cell organelles, these are always floating in the cytoplasm, it is called as eukaryotic. So prokaryotic is the primitive one, eukaryotic is the latest or the recent one, is the developed one. Animals and plant cells are there. So if you find two types of the cells, plant cell and animal cell, plant cell is rectangular and animal cell is spherical in structure. So to total descriptive knowledge of the animal and plant cell, will be later on while studying in this chapter.